The questions we wrestle with as Christians about who God is, how do we live out our faith, what is the Bible, what is the truth of the Bible, what are we supposed to believe, how are we supposed to live? There are really big, deep questions that we ask each other, that we ask God, that we wrestle with ourselves. And that's why the Cultivate podcast exists, to help us go deeper in our understanding of who God is, His Word, and the way that He's called us to live. Hey everyone, welcome to the Cultivate podcast with the Grove Church. I'm Charlie Loften. I'm the lead pastor there.
What up?
And it's Bagel Boone.
Bagel Boone, yeah.
I'm afraid it's slipping.
I don't think so.
In my brain.
Well, maybe in your brain, I don't know. But my mom literally last week asked me why you were calling me Bagel. So she may be behind in the podcast.
She's just now catching
right,
up.
But she's
maybe she skipped the episode when we talked about it.
Yeah, but she's very privy to it right now.
Oh, she's in.
Yes.
Okay, we need to catch on.
Yeah.
Outside
of just here.
Outside of here.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will.
Hope for the best. All right. So after a year's worth of systematic theology and then talking about kids, we've now jumped into parables, and we spent some time last week talking about kind of what is a parable, how do you study a parable, what's the best way to understand a parable, and now we begin.
We're off to the races.
We're going. It's maybe if
another marathon.
The last series was a marathon, this is a half marathon.
Okay, that's not as bad.
Bad?
Well, you talked like it was like we did it maybe for too long.
You told me that it wasn't, so then I was feeling all positive, and now I'm back to...
No. I think we're doing the right stride.
I'm telling you, that systematic theology, it could easily have been 3 years.
I think I would have enjoyed it if we did more on the church history thing.
No, that's a different one. That's not... We could do church history.
But I like the denomination history thing.
Right. You're not interested in St. Augustine of Hippo.
I actually am, since I started the book that I was reading, but it's only gotten me more confused.
We need to find us a church history expert.
I would love that.
Find us one.
Okay.
That's on you.
Okay.
All right. Very first parable we're talking about today is the parable of the sowers. So we're going to be in Matthew chapter 13, starting verse 1 here. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, A farmer went out to sow seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell among the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places, where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seeds fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear.
Classic. What was it again? I wanted to pull it up.
Matthew chapter 13.
The whole chapter?
Well, that was just 1 through 9. But Jesus is about to have some interaction with them about it.
Okay.
But we'll come back. We'll come back to that. But let's just let that sit here for a little bit.
Okay.
As you're pulling it up, you can look. Maybe you remember me saying it. It says specifically in the first couple of verses there who the audience is. So who is the audience that Jesus is talking to?
He was sitting at a lake. Just a crowd?
Yeah, large crowd. So it seems like he doesn't necessarily have a very specific audience in mind.
Uh-huh.
Jesus was talking to his disciples and said, he was with the Pharisees, It's like, this is like if everybody's going to be listening, here's what I want them to hear. So everybody ranging from his closest followers to probably some people who were opposed to him, all the way to people who were just vastly curious about him. Like this, I would say it is primarily
just like passerbys.
Yeah, people who are like, "Oh, Jesus, huh? Jesus? I heard about this guy."
Yeah.
People who are just window shopping, right? I mean, just the interested people who are like, "I wonder what he's got to say."
Can I ask a really practical question?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he was shouting? Because wouldn't it be like hard to talk to a crowd?
Well, he probably was. He probably did. You probably did have to learn how to project your voice
like
in that
have
situation.
A megaphone.
But have you ever been in the middle of the lake and tried to talk to somebody at the shore?
No.
No?
Why would
Are
I
you a
try
lake
that?
person at all?
I enjoy the lake, but I don't go often.
Are you aware of how acoustics work from being across a lake?
No.
Okay.
Other than Harry Potter like yelling across the lake.
Expecto Patronum?
Yeah. That's pretty loud.
I have nothing in response to that. I think
is it like easier?
It projects. So
Okay.
him going out in the boat into the middle of the lake, speaking to the people on the shore, it would
was
have
an acoustic
magnified
reason.
his voice significantly.
Okay. That's always my concern in any of the parables. It's like, the people in the park probably had no idea what he said. Yeah, there'd just be murmurs in the back.
He said he was a farmer?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so to me, this is like, not exactly, but almost like an Easter Sunday kind of situation where it's like, all right, well, if the big crowd of just kind of only moderately interested people are here,
biggest bang
here's
for your
what we're
buck.
going to talk about.
Okay.
And so then Jesus gets up and says, guys, there was this farmer, and he was sowing his seed, and some of it landed on the path, and it just got eaten up. Some of it landed in rocks, and so it didn't really turn into much. Some went into thorns, and so the thorns kind of choked it, but then some of it actually landed in the good soil and made crops. If you want to listen, I said it.
Like that's how they would have received the if you have ears.
Let's think like, you have 2,000 years worth of Christian history and Bible knowledge and the knowledge of what Jesus is going to say here in just a few verses as he's describing exactly what he meant by this. But just imagine you're just somebody on the shore listening to this guy. I came all the way here, and what he said was he knows a really stupid farmer.
So they would have been let down.
Well, I don't know, let down is the right word, but the parable is really weird.
Okay.
Imagine if your livelihood was farming.
And you just
and you've got your seed that you're trying to sow, and your livelihood depends on how much of this seed turns into crops. What are you going to do?
Put it in the best place possible.
Put all of it in the best place possible. But this guy was just indiscriminately sowing, throwing seed wherever it happened to land. Even if some of it did happen to land on the path,
it wasn't intentional.
I'm gonna go over there.
And rake it back in.
And then take it over here. It's like, oh man, it might be a little more difficult than the rocks to get, but you would be a lot more careful. So
they would have been noticing the careless farmer first of all, probably.
Yeah, so what? There's a point. There's a block there. There's a block there. The idea that Jesus,
they're really agrarian, weren't they?
Yeah, but the idea that Jesus says, if the big idea is, this is God's word, and God's word's going to hit differently with different people. Yeah, sure. But why does he have to be a bad farmer? I feel like it would have been they would have stuck there.
When we just go straight to the soil.
we would go into, just give me straight to the meanings. They would have gotten stuck there.
So would you say that the farmer is a key part in it? Are we supposed to analyze what kind of person does that with the seed? And what does the seed represent?
I feel like that original listener to this would have had a lot of questions about the farmer and why would the farmer have done that? Because otherwise, you could have said, it's like some seed got dumped all over this random area, and this is what happened to it. But the fact that a farmer intentionally did that, would not have been. They would not have just blown past it and said, "Well, I got to skip past that to get to the point. I got to skip past that and get to the point."
Yeah.
It would have hung them up. And so I want us to come back to that.
Okay.
But before we do, let's at least touch on Jesus's interaction afterwards, because the disciples, verse 10, they're like, "Why do you speak to the people in parables?"
Mm-hmm.
He replied, "Because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven have been given to you, not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. This is why I speak to them in parables." And this is the verse we talked about last episode. "Though seeing they do not see, though hearing they do not hear or understand. In them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. You'll be ever hearing, but not understanding. You'll be ever seeing, but not perceiving. For these people's hearts have become callous. They hardly hear with their ears, and they have closed their eyes. Otherwise, they might see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their hearts, and turn, and I would heal them. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For truly I tell you, many prophets and righteous people long to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear it." And so this goes back to what we talked about last week, which was, why does he speak in parables?
Mm-hmm.
Because he wants the people whose hearts are hard to have to work a little for it. And if they're not willing to work for it, then
their heart isn't desiring.
Just stay over there.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are like, man, it's kind of mean. It's like he's saying it so they won't understand it, because otherwise they might believe and get healed. Makes it sound like Jesus is intentionally trying to keep something from them, but really it's like their hearts are hard and they're not listening, and they know if they did listen, they might get their hearts healed. I don't want my heart to get healed.
Yeah.
My heart's just fine, thank you very much,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it just really just kind of exposing in the people who don't want to get it.
It all shows their pridefulness.
Yeah.
Of not wanting to seek it out.
All right, but anybody who was like, whose heart was like,
I want to know what this means.
I want to know what this means. I'm at least gonna think about it, or okay, well,
could they
yeah, like I'm gonna work my way to the front here. Is he gonna explain this?
Right.
Some people might have been like, oh, well, this guy again.
So he's referencing, that's a Isaiah verse.
Yes.
So was Isaiah talking about people wouldn't understand Jesus, or that's just always been the way the kingdom has been talked about?
Yeah, it's just, Isaiah is preaching his own message of repentance.
Okay.
And the people are the same sort of deal. They're
okay.
Like, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And so this kind of just takes us back to what we talked about last week. But then now he's about to give us the meaning of it. Verse 18, "Listen then to what the parable of the sower means. When anyone hears the message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their heart. This is the seed sown along the path. The seed falling on rocky ground refers to someone who hears the word and at once receives it with joy. But since they have no root, they last only a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. The seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of this life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. But the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop yielding 160 or 30 times what was sown." So you probably already knew that. You probably had heard that before, and it's talking about the soils of people's hearts and all these different things.
He's just talking to the disciples.
Yeah, he's
that part.
And I guess possibly anybody who was like
more curious
enough to kind of be like leaned in. Right?
Yeah.
So, but this was not broadcast
right
everywhere.
Okay.
And so we've got the explicit meaning here. There's really, according to Jesus, there's 4 types of soils based on, right? What do I do when I hear Jesus talk about the kingdom?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, I'm not even really listening, and Satan comes and snatches it away, or it's like I hear like, yeah,
and then it fizzles out.
It just kind of fizzles out. Or I hear it and I'm like, okay, but then life gets the best of me. Or I hear it and I'm like, and it really takes root and becomes something.
Mm-hmm.
And so that makes perfect sense.
And that seems different topic than the farmer.
But the bridge between what he said and that, like, I wonder, like, how was me in the audience, how am I going to get there?
Right.
Because again, it stands out too much to someone from an agrarian society for it to be meaningless. Well, if you think, what is the context? What's the context in which Jesus is giving this talk?
To the masses.
To the masses.
So it's really throwing out to whoever is willing.
This is what God does, and it's specifically what Jesus is doing here. I will absolutely
toss it anywhere.
Throw this everywhere.
Yeah.
God, when it comes to telling people the truth, to telling people about the kingdom, to telling people the good news, the gospel, God is very indiscriminate.
Mm-hmm.
He is not just like, well, I mean,
I'm only going to give it to the... Yeah.
And this will be a perpetual theme in a lot of these parables. The figure that is meant to be God in some way is insanely and irrationally generous.
Oh, yeah.
The father of the prodigal son is that way. The king that forgives the unforgiving servant is irrationally generous.
That kind of makes sense. Like, they would have heard... I mean, I guess they probably would have thought that farmer didn't spread his seed very well.
Right.
But another view of it is that he's putting seed where he shouldn't worry about putting it.
If the soil are hearts of people, then
why worry?
He is giving it. He wants everyone to at least have a chance, which would be a different version of God than what they thought.
Okay.
God would have been a very tribal God to them, only giving to his group, and maybe even within his group,
only the most clean or qualified or whatever.
They would not have thought of God as an indiscriminately generous God. And anytime I think about this one or other parables like it, I think about the song. It was controversial for a while about whether or not God's love was reckless.
I was wondering if that was going to be it.
Right? I mean, and people ask, yeah, I mean, if by reckless you mean without regard for your own good, like I'm only going to do this if it is going to be good for me. I'm not going to put my heart out there if I know it is going to get hurt.
Right.
To love recklessly is like to risk further hurt. And in that sense, I mean, God is always risking further hurt. Yeah. If by reckless we mean careless, then no, but that's not what reckless means. Reckless doesn't mean careless.
Right.
It's, it doesn't mean stupid.
It's vulnerable.
Yeah. Seemingly risky.
Yeah.
But God is, I want everyone to hear this.
Yeah. Because I guess the what they would expect out of that farmer is it lands on this bad places and he would go collect it, like you were saying. Or that he would be like, oh shoot, that went in the wrong places.
Yeah, I'm going to build some wall between the good soil and the rock.
And make sure you don't put it anywhere else.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure that it only stays here. Because the seed is incredibly valuable and I would not waste it.
Is that how they would have...
If God is a farmer and he knows his seed is valuable, I am not wasting it, giving it an opportunity
to land wherever.
Because even though it is valuable, I am generous with what is mine. And I want it to land.
Yeah. I guess worst case scenario, something grows.
Right.
So would have they also felt that way with like any other teachers at the time, like the Pharisees? I guess you were saying like they wouldn't have just taught it wide and liberally.
Yeah, I mean, very, very exclusive. I mean, like in order to, there was a ranking system as far as like, can I get in with this rabbi, and can I, in order to be able to achieve this level, I need to be able to demonstrate these sorts of things, and that there's special things reserved for people who only meet certain standards.
Right.
And so the idea that someone would be generous with their teaching and hope everyone would hear it regardless of how they respond
That would have been radical.
would have been a radical concept.
Huh.
So I think even in Jesus's explanation of the parable, he's still holding back a little bit. He's like, there's still some work, I think, for them to do to get from that to, okay, well, if that's the case, then what about this farmer though?
Right.
I mean,
right.
And so I think there are some dots that you have to connect to kind of get to, okay, I learned something about God today.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the points that he's making here, when some people hear the truth, they respond well, some don't, and like in 3 different sorts of ways. I'm like,
well, why waste your... Yeah.
Oh.
Well, this
like,
also...
I would not say that is the most insightful thing that Jesus has ever taught.
Right.
Some people don't respond. Okay.
Yeah.
That's true.
This is going to show my Northeast Arkansas roots.
Come on now, one time.
Granny Boone was a master seed broker and worked with all the farmers with doing seed brokerage for all of them. And I mean, seed's expensive.
Yeah.
To like do all of that. And so I would imagine even someone thinking in the agrarian sense of like, I have bad land and I can never afford to even get good seed on it. But if seed fell on it, heck yeah.
Right.
You know, like I'm not even making enough money to purchase the seed that needs to come into it to make the soil good.
Right.
That would, if you're looking at the farmer that way of like, what crazy farmer would accidentally drop their seed on my ground?
Yeah. So here's the question. So anytime I've heard this taught, it usually comes down to, Abigail, tell me about the soil of your heart.
Yeah, that's how I have always heard it.
Right? Tell me about the soil of your heart. And, you know, if you letting the thorns choke you out? If so, you need to get rid of those thorns. You need to get rid of the rocks. You need to cultivate the soil of your heart.
Mm-hmm. Or be on guard for the bad soils.
Yeah, I feel like it's mostly an internal thing. It's right. I mean, like, or maybe I need to help you. Like maybe these people, and like, hey, you're gonna come across some people. You need to help them clean up the soil of their heart. Do you think that's what Jesus is getting after?
Well, now the way that you're saying it makes me think that how much should I be looking for how he's flipping the script of who God is?
Yeah, to me again, it's to me like once we get to the point of like, it's not a bad thing to think about. It's not a bad thing,
right?
It is when I hear a difficult truth, is there depth to receive it? Do worries choke it out?
Right.
That's a really good question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good question to ask. Is that the primary driving point of
what he was trying to
this
communicate?
message?
Well, it seems I
don't know if soil can take care of itself.
Right.
Like in the metaphor itself,
right.
A soil cannot get better.
Yeah.
Because now if we're talking about soil, well, no, someone needs to take care of the soil. Who takes care of the soil?
Right.
The farmer.
Mm-hmm.
The farmer's got some work to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some. You can't take the weeds out. I mean, you can't be the dirt
right.
and take the thorns out, right? So now we're just pushing the metaphors to. We're not taking the metaphor for what it is. If it's a farming metaphor, then you're not asking the question, what should the soil do about itself?
Mm-hmm. Whenever Jesus was entering into ministry, would you say that one of his like big things was like, I need to help people understand the true God? Like, did they have a big misconception of who God was?
Well, that is probably who is God really, and how do I please him?
Mm-hmm.
And he is mostly turning that in on its head.
Okay.
Now again, I'm not saying that it is not a good spiritual exercise to take this parable and think,
am I good soil?
Am I good soil?
Right.
Am I good soil? If not, I need to ask God to do some work in me, and I need there's something. It's a good thing. I'm saying it's not. We've gone from primary of the parable to a secondary. And once you kind of get to a secondary, like, okay, you're playing a little loose with it, but okay. But here's the one where I get, right. I'm okay. Stop already. So Abigail, of those 4 soils,
which one are you?
Which ones of them are saved?
Oh.
Okay, clearly the path isn't, right? It never even takes root at all.
Right.
And clearly the last one is.
Uh-huh.
But can someone, when they hear the gospel and they hear it with joy, but they don't have any root, it only lasts a short time and they fall away? Or, someone who hears and then wealth, it chokes it, makes it unfruitful. Are they saved and then they lose their salvation? Are they saved but just only... but they have a bad, or like they were never saved at all? What do you think, Abigail? And you're like,
that's tough.
What?
How would I even know?
What are we even? What are we even talking about? We're taking like a particular sort of theology, a particular soteriology that really didn't fully develop this way at a minimum for 400 years after that, probably more like 1800 years after Jesus said this, and inflicting it back in time into this, which would not have been the point that any random farmer standing on the shore outside the lake
would have taken from that. Yeah.
And I think that's the point in which we have to be really careful about a parable.
Of what we've just been handed rather than...
I mean, like Jesus is just kind of general teaching, or Paul's letters. Man, there's levels and layers and levels and levels, and the more I understand this, the more I understand this, more I understand this. But if this is Jesus in a boat, talking to a bunch of agrarian kind of peasant people on the shore, I mean, he wasn't like, man, I hope we that when all this is over, I hope they really have a really good understanding of perseverance of the saints.
Right.
That just, again, maybe eventually you get to the point to where you're like, oh, what about my heart though?
Sure. Well, like because it is revisitable. If that's a word.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, okay. I've learned something about God. I've learned an obviously true thing about the way people respond to hard truths. But I've learned something about God, and now I should probably ask some questions about me. I think that's as far as we can go and say,
that's what Jesus was
I am within the safe confines of what Jesus was trying to communicate to.
Yeah. This is probably one of the really good examples as to why you should read the parables yourself and not just listen to them in a sermon. Like what you're learning in a sermon, barring you're at a good church, you're probably learning something really good from it. Like they're not using it in a bad way,
right?
But like, how much more are you going to get out of it of actually just reading the parable and thinking through this lens rather than just assuming whatever your pastor said is the main point?
Yeah, I mean,
or podcast or whatever it is.
Because there is a pressure, I think, amongst a lot of people with my job to give a
new fresh take,
and probably there'll be times over the course of these months that we're doing this that it will feel like I'm giving a fresh new take. But really, I hope it's like because
we're just getting back to the original.
Let's scooch past all this stuff, because like with the prodigal son, it's like, no, the prodigal son isn't the first son; it's the older son. It's really the story is about the second son. I'm like, well, really, the story is about
the father.
The father,
yeah,
and the way different people react to a recklessly loving father.
Which I feel like that's probably the part that, since we are, which is an amazing thing, how much we inherit from what has happened before us. We have all these people that have studied all this stuff before us. We don't have to do as much work as the original audience, but then we probably miss those things of like, what is he saying about God?
Right.
Rather than what all I've learned about God before that's been corrected from all those times. What's deeper in this parable? And it's like, well, no, I actually take it how those original people, they would have had to do their original work of just like, what is he saying about this?
Yeah,
farmer?
This was an Easter Sunday sermon.
It legitimately was?
No.
Okay.
There wasn't, Easter hadn't happened yet.
Oh, you're right.
This was an evangelistic kind of
big crowd.
This is your first Stumo meeting of the fall, right? I mean, This is invite everybody. Everybody's there. I mean, this
That
is
was a very niche
this is a
reference.
bottom shelf kind of
Yeah.
talk that he's given.
Yeah.
Which is God is throwing seed of his word out to everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to land different in different places.
So did they not view him as like, I don't know if all loving is the wrong way to say it, but like, did they view God as like selective?
Yeah, they would have viewed God as selective.
That
They
he
would
wasn't pursuing
certainly that's what the
everyone.
Pharisees were teaching. Very anti-Gentile. Very anti-Gentile.
So it was only for the Jews.
Mhm.
Okay.
That is what they have been led to believe.
Okay.
And Jesus is going to turn that on its head over the course of his
whole, like all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've never thought about that part of, like, legitimately never thought about that part of it.
Well, there you go.
Which is why I'm like, I should go read it for myself.
Step one, we've worked our way through our first parable, and I think there is. I don't want to say that it's not. Oh, there's more there than you think, Abigail. It's like, I don't know. Honestly, there's less. I mean, like there's there's some really core, very simple truths.
I think I don't
that
need to
would
move
have
on
been
so
really
fast.
profound to them, which may not be profound to us anymore. And so we look to find something.
We try and go past those.
Kind of go past it and get, instead of like, let's just rest in the fact that it really is kind of wild how indiscriminately generous God is with.
And has pursued us. Because you could probably also trace that back in there. Like, they would have all known the history of their people. And like, kind of really similar to your message this past Sunday of talking about he uses us to bless. You are blessed to be blessed, not to be insular.
Right.
And that like that would be a radical retelling probably of their history, that like actually he wanted so many more.
And again, Jonah failed at that so badly. And that is one of the illustrations that Jesus used to describe.
Yeah, I didn't know that happened until you said that in the sermon, that he used him as an example.
Yeah. Anyways.
You're a great teacher.
We're on a great journey here. I appreciate that. That's a great. We'll end the podcast with that. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Encourage you to come back next time. We're going to keep working our way through these parables and have a good time over these next few months. Encourage you to keep coming back. We'd love for you to connect with our church. Find us at thegrovechurch.org. You can send us your info. You can find out about our services. We would love to connect with you, hear from you. And Abigail, thanks again for being here, and thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Cultivate podcast. Our hope is that you are taking steps to go deeper in your faith, that you are asking big questions and you're looking for answers. We hope that we can be a resource for you through our podcast and any other way that we can help you. You can find all our episodes anywhere that you can find podcasts, including YouTube. And again, thank you so much for joining us.